Alright, you guys know what's up. My name is JB, and today we are going to be doing a tier list for Pokemon Unite Season 6 / the new map. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit weird. This is mostly going to be focused on solo, duo, trio queue because I have not played a single 5-stat game on the new map. So this is just going to be from my own personal experience in the game. So if you see something you completely disagree with, that's totally fine. Let me know in the comments down below. We can talk about it. But also while you're here, please be sure to go ahead and drop me a sub or a like and all that sort of fun stuff. It's I try to do a lot of fun Pokemon Unite content. So if you enjoy it, please be sure to hit the old subscribe button, do the whole YouTube thing. I'd really appreciate that. Other things worth noting, I haven't played a ton of Pokemon on this map. There are a few Pokemon I haven't touched yet. I played mostly everything. I've played a lot of games. There's just some characters I haven't really messed with yet because I've been too busy playing some other things. So yeah, this is gonna be a weird tier list. It's also gonna be, I have a feeling it's gonna be an incredibly hot takey tier list, if that's a word. It is now. So I'm gonna do my best to hopefully not screw this one up too much. This is the tier list I've been the least confident in, just because I don't know how I feel about a lot of things yet, but we're gonna talk through it. So let's go ahead and start off. I believe I started my last tier list off with supporters. Let's go ahead and start this one off with all-arounders. Why not? Let's start off with Garchomp. Garchomp's one of, if not my favorite character in the entire game. I'm putting it B tier. Some people think Garchomp's the worst character in the game. I don't think it is. It might be these days. I don't think so though. I see from myself and other really good Garchomp players that are still just really good with the character, that can still provide a ton of value with the character. It's a really rough Pokemon in certain matchups, and a lot of matchups it's really rough, but I truly don't think it's the worst character in the game. But the more I look at it, the more it might be. But no, I think there is actually another contender for it. And when I say the worst character in the game, you can win, you can do well, you can pop off, you can reach master rank with really any character in the game. The Pokemon that I'm going to designate, I'm only going to put one Pokemon in C tier. I know what it is. That character, I don't think it's necessarily bad. I just think it's in the most need of help in the entire game. So I do know what we're putting down there, the distinction of being the one C tier Pokemon, which isn't even a bad tier. Like C tier in most tier lists is pretty darn average, but we've switched this up a little bit. You can see we also don't have a Hoopa tier because I don't think Hoopa's that good, but we'll see. All right, moving on to Lucario. I want to put Lucario, I'm going to put it in A+. I think it's still very strong. I just think it doesn't, you know, it doesn't have that sort of it factor. It doesn't have that sort of oomph that it had on the old map. It's a little bit harder for it to do what it wants to do early game. It's not as dominant early game. And the big thing with Lucario is you were able to get a huge experience lead and kind of snowball a lot of fights, especially in solo, duo, trio. That's what made Lucario really good, but there's so much experience on the new map, it's harder to really snowball like that. It's harder to really be super ahead of your enemies a lot of times. And yeah, Lucario, it's still very strong. Obviously it's still in the A tier, A+ tier even. So yeah, it's not that as bad by any means. It's just, I don't know, it's a lot of those, you know, traditional really great characters just don't feel like they're as good. Maybe that has something to do with Unite move nerfs, maybe that has something to do with everything being a higher level in the game just naturally, so you're just not noticing them as much. It's tough to tell, but yeah, Luke definitely still a great Pokemon. Charizard, man, buddy, I'm gonna move you down to B+. And they didn't touch anything with Charizard's kit. It's just the Unite move nerf really hurt Charizard. It no longer gets this crazy speed boost from uniting, so it's a little bit easy to just run away from Charizard's Unite. The thing that made Charizard so good was you could unite something and just completely tear it down, completely delete one enemy from a fight, sometimes multiple enemies if you catch them in a big group. You can't really do that as much anymore with Charizard because you're not really able to keep up with people. So yeah, it's definitely a good change overall. I like the change for Unite moves overall, but it definitely hurt my boy Zard a little bit more than it hurt some other characters. So yeah, speaking of characters, the Unite move buff really hurt, ironically. We're going to talk about two of them back to back. Let's go ahead and talk about Machamp. I think Machamp actually got pretty messed up by these nerfs. I think it's still a pretty solid Pokemon. Dynamic Punch does not feel as strong. Submission is still a terrible move because of characters like this running around. Like, you want to talk about Buzzwole getting shut down by Blissey, which we'll talk about Buzzwole here in a second. You want to talk about Buzzwole getting shut down by Blissey, Machamp gets fucking ruined by Blissey. I think Submission Machamp is terrible. Dynamic Punch got nerfed. Crush Up and Close Combat are still okay, but it's the Unite move nerf was also really big for Machamp. You don't get the crazy movement speed anymore. You don't get the massive spikes of damage. Like, it's just not as good. And Machamp's Unite move was such a big part of its kit. It's just not anymore. All right. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and go with our friendly neighborhood Dragonite. I'm gonna put it S tier, and I'm not putting these, you know, in like one in each tier on purpose. It's just how it's ended up working out. I think Dragonite's still a very, very, very solid jungler. It's a little bit more viable in lane, and dare I say Outrage is slightly more viable in this crazy brawly meta that it should be, by the way. It's oftentimes not in my games, at least. I think Dragonite's still very good. Hyper Beam is still an incredible secure. It's a Pokemon that didn't really care about its Unite move, so it doesn't really mind the nerf. Honestly, the ult to score thing might be back a little bit, just popping a buddy barrier. Obviously, that doesn't work the same way, but, you know, just ulting in the score with score shield might be a thing. Obviously, you can't stack, but, you know, your shields like you used to be able to, but might be a thing. Dare I say Goal Getter Dragonite's back a little bit. I think the Goal Getter hype, the just do everything you can to score hype, is a little bit overrated in my opinion, but it is what it is. Like, it's definitely a viable strategy. I don't think it's just meta thing. Obviously, score comps might be a thing in 5 stacks, but in solo queue, I wouldn't go out of your way to score a ton. That's just me personally. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I need to learn to score. If you know what Twitter account I'm talking about when I say that, I feel sorry for you. That dude is one of the biggest clowns on the entire internet, but I digress. Moving on, let's go ahead and talk about Serena. I'm leaving it in S+ tier. It got nerfed. Stomp got nerfed. I'm telling you guys, I'm recording this like literally about an hour after I recorded the Stomp Serena video that you guys are going to see. This is going up the day after that. So I don't notice a Serena nerf at all. Triple Axel is still really good too. So even if you are noticing a Stomp nerf, if you don't like Stomp as much for whatever reason, Triple Axel is still really good. Like, Serena is still amazing. I'm leaving it in S+ tier. I think it's a phenomenal Pokemon. Aegislash. I'm going to put it in A tier above our boy Machamp. I think it's a pretty damn solid mon, all things considered. Like, it's just a character that if you know how to play it, you're gonna do well and dominate a game with it. But if you're a little bit, you know, if you don't really know how to juggle your abilities, you're just not going to get a ton of value out of it. It's a character that has a really high skill ceiling, but it has one of the highest carry potentials in the game if you know how to play it. Otherwise, it's just a Pokemon that's sort of there. So it's a very dependent Pokemon. Like, in some players' hands, it's the best character in the game. In some players' hands, it's pretty terrible. I'm going to leave it in A tier. I think it's a very, very, very good Pokemon. Azumarill. I'm putting Azubi. I don't think it's great. It's another Pokemon that got really screwed over by the Unite move nerf. It really relied on just ulting in and just having a lot of movement speed and sort of just assassinating a character. Can't really do that as much anymore. Also, Aquatail, you'd think it'd be good against Rayquaza shields. I haven't really tested that out too much, but I think, don't quote me on this, that got removed. I don't know if that's true or not. I literally have not played it, but someone told me it's not good at it. I'm just trusting them. They play Azu more than me, so hey, if that's not true, fucking don't look at me. Yeah, I think it's a pretty rough character. I think it really struggles with mobility. I think it really struggles with sticking to characters. I think it has a kiting problem, but I don't know, man. It's an okay mon. It's more of an assassin than anything. That's the sort of playstyle it has. I think it's still really, really good, but they're not really good. I think it's still solid. I just don't think it's, you know, great. I think there are, you know, many better choices, including Tyranitar. Listen, this character's not nerfed. It's still one of the best characters in the game. I put it a little bit low in my first tier list, my post Tyranitar tier list, because I don't think it was, I still don't think it was that amazing on launch. I think it took a little while for people to figure it out. And once people started figuring out how to just deal with this character and how to play this character, yeah, then it became a demon and became the best, one of the best characters in the game. I truly think it is amazing. I love T-Tar a lot. It's very, very fun. It does still have a little bit of a kiting problem, and it is very, very weak to stuns, which is why I don't necessarily think it's like the best character in the game, but I think it is very good. I think it paired with Mr. Mime is maybe the best duo in the game besides Venusaur. I think, you know, just I think Venusaur is crazy, but that might be a hot take. Yeah, I really like Tyranitar. It's very, very, very good. All right, moving on. Let's go ahead and get our speedsters out of the way. Gengar. I'm putting Gengar A+ tier. I think it's really solid. There's a lot of places to hide on this map, in bushes and in walls. There's a lot of ways to set up ambush kills, and that's something Gengar really appreciates. And speedsters didn't really get hurt too much with their playstyle by the Unite move nerf, because they still get the massive speed boost, which is what they really appreciate. And it just plays into Gengar's assassin style a little bit more. So I think Gengar is still very solid. I don't think it's, you know, great. I don't think it's that bad. Speaking of pretty good, I think Absol's another very solid Pokemon. It really excels in lane on this map. It's a lane bully early. really excels at getting its stacks in and can just delete characters from the game. You know, it appreciates a more brawly, more fight focused meta. So that's again what this map should be. So if you're able to just force fights and jump on characters, then Absol is definitely in a good place in my opinion. Talonflame, I'm putting Talonflame B. You can do some invade stuff with it, but you're providing zero value to your team. I think I'm gonna make a bit of a shit post tier list, maybe later this week or next week, whichever one you guys want. I want to do the most toxic Unite mains, maybe not most toxic Unite mains, but most toxic Unite traits, perhaps. I don't know if that's a tier list or just a certain video, but Talonflame players are one of the worst player bases in Unite. I can say that with the fact. I cannot count rather the amount of times I've had a Talonflame on my team or the enemy team get 2 kills and 30,000 damage. I see that more significant or more consistently on Talonflame than any other character. I see more useless Talonflames than any other character in the game. So listen, there are decent Talonflame players. I rarely, if ever, see them. So I don't think Talonflame's a great character. It's okay. You can do some fun score compy things with it if that's what you're going for. Fine. I don't think it's a good team fighter. I don't think it's a great. I don't think it's great. I don't really have anything else to say. Zera, I do think is pretty darn good. I'm going to leave it in the A tier right next to Absol. I think it's another character, much like Slash, we talked about earlier, has insanely high carry potential, and it's a little bit easier to play. Has a very good Unite move. Discharge is amazing. Volt Switch and Spark are both viable. Wild Charge, I still think is one of the most broken moves in the game, but it's not used as much, so I guess that's okay. I think Wild Charge is incredibly overpowered, but that's just me. It's probably because I can't figure out how to use it and I get destroyed by it. It might have something to do with it. Maybe it's salt. I'll let you decide that. Yeah, I think Zeror is very good. Great Unite move, great team fighter, insane carry potential, great objective shred. Love me some Zera. Let's do defenders next. This is the role I've played the least of this season. I haven't really touched a lot of these defenders. I do think Snorlax is in a pretty decent place. I'll put it B+. It is again a character that really appreciates this more brawly fight focused gameplay. So it's very good at that. It is you know, block is great, heavy slam's great. Just pushing people around with block is actually really good on this map. You can actually force a lot of scores and defend really well with block. So I think for that reason, it does provide a lot of value in fights. It specifically, not specifically, but more so in stacks and, you know, coordinated play. But it can do some, you know, stuff preventing goals in solo queue if you're, you know, playing for that. I think you're better off, you know, playing a more offensive character in that role. I still think Flailax is horrible, but you enjoy it, play it, I guess. It's a fine character, nothing bad with it. Crustle, I think Crustle's actually pretty damn good on this map. I'm gonna put Crustle A tier. It's you know, X Scissors still really good, but you know, stealing stuff with just running around stealing stuff with Fluffy Tail, Stealth Rock is definitely back in a big way. Scoring, backcapping is back in a big way, and Crustle is one of the characters that excels at that the most. So I think Crustle's in a great spot. I'm gonna leave it in the A tier. I really like Crustle on this map. Blastoise. I think Blastoise is okay. I'll leave it B+. It's another really solid team fighter. Rapid Spin, Water Spout's good. Like all around, everything Blastoise does is good. It's just more of an attack focused defender rather than a defender. So I don't know. It's pretty damn decent. I like me some Slowbro or some Blastoise in this map. So speaking of Slowbro, it definitely fell off a little bit. It's not as easy to, you know, do the things Slowbro like to do, which was disrupt team fights. And well, it's still easy to do that. It's just the thing about Slowbro is it's just weird. Like this map is almost too big for a character like Slowbro to really get involved. Like everything is played at such range. You think that'd be a benefit to Slowbro, but Slowbro really struggles against some certain characters. Like it really struggles against stuff like Mime. It really struggles against stuff like T-Tar and Serena to some extent, which is why you didn't see a ton of Slowbro in Worlds. But it's still a very strong Pokemon. Scald's crazy. It's another, like, it's kind of more an attack focused character right now than an actual defender, but it's still a very solid mon. I really like it a lot. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it's a little bit weird on the map. I haven't played it a ton. I only played a few games with Slowbro this season, and it felt fine. It's just, I don't know. It's just a little bit off. I haven't figured it out quite yet. Mamoswine. I think Mamoswine is phenomenal on this map. Specifically, my kind of always go in, never stop going in, just jump on things and freeze them build. I think it's really good. It's also a Pokemon that's really good at defending goals. I think Mamoswine's very solid at that. Obviously, you just freeze people. Just providing a lot of CC is very good on a character like this, and especially in, you know, a lot of team fights. I think Mamoswine's in a pretty darn good place. You could argue the same for Blastoise, but I think Mamoswine is just a little bit better at the moment. I could be wrong about that. Again, you know, just my opinion. I could be wrong about all of this. Speaking of one thing I'm not wrong about, Greedent, I gotta put Groudon S tier, dude. Groudon is stupid and I hate it. I despise it. It's one of my least favorite characters in the game. If you've been around here for a while, you know this. But yeah, I hate Groudon. It's really good. Invading strats are very back. Scoring strats are very back. Just being the most annoying piece of crap on the planet is back. I hate Groudon. It's very good. Just slap yourself some yellow emblems, slap yourself some pink emblems on, and become the most hated thing in Unites. I hate Groudons. All right. Moving on, the last actual defender we have, because Wigglytuff is listed as a defender, background-wise, is Trevenet. I think Trevenet is very similar to Swine in that it's a little bit rough, but it's definitely still solid. Honestly, I just don't think... I'm actually going to bump Trevenet down to more of a Blastoise role, more of a Snorlax role. I think it's more in line with these guys. I just don't think it provides, you know, just the sheer amount of CC that Swine does. I do still really like everything that Trevenet does. I love the character. I love playing it. It's just, I don't know. I think Swine does that role a little bit better currently. So we'll put Trevenet in the old B+ tier. I think, you know, it looks like it's in the lower half, but it's still a B+ character. I think it's still really strong, dude. Like, there's nothing wrong with being B+. It's like, it's above average. All right, let's go ahead and do our supporters next. We'll save this guy for last amongst the supporters. Let's just go backwards. Hoopa. I'm gonna put Hoopa A. Hoopa's still really strong. Nothing's changed about Hoopa except for the Unite move nerf. It's just the map is played different. The game is played different. The value of Hoopa was getting your team to and from Dreadnought, getting your team to and from Rotom, getting your team to Zapdos, because Zapdos was so freaking important. You just had to ult into that fight. Well, now with that, you know, last final stretch fight being inherently less valuable, that kind of makes Hoopa's ult less valuable, but it's still very strong. I think at some point we are going to see, like, the first tournament on this map, we are going to see a lot of Hoopa backcap strats, just both teams probably ulting into the enemy base at 2 minutes just to score a ton and then go back to fight. And probably it's going to be a really score focused. I think Hoopa is going to be back in the meta in a big way once, you know, teams start playing. At the moment, it's just all, you know, the other supports. Let's be real. So yeah, I'm putting Hoopa in the B or A tier. Wiggly got buffs. Unfortunately, I believe it no longer crits, which is sad because I was really looking forward to running some Razor Claw Wigglytuff with the buffed Double Slap, but I believe it did lose its crits. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm too lazy to pull up Unite DB while I'm recording this. But I still like Wiggly. I just don't think it provides as much value as other supports. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. You can do some score stuff with it, with Rollout, which Rollout also got, it's not really a buff. It's more of a quality of life change. You can now get to see where you're bouncing with Rollout, which I guess is a good thing. I haven't played it because I hate Rollout Wiggly. But yeah, it's okay. Nothing wrong with it. They're just better supporters. I don't think that's a controversial take. One of those is not Eldegoss. And again, I'm putting Eldegoss on C tier. It's the one Pokemon I'm putting down here. And that is not because I think Eldegoss is bad. I think Eldegoss is an attacker. And I think that is the only good thing Eldegoss provides. I think if you're playing Eldegoss as a support, you're doing it wrong. Eldegoss is a great attacker, but there are better attackers. That's the problem with Eldegoss. I think Eldegoss is in the most need of a buff in the game. It is just completely irrelevant with this character, and well, now this character too, but this character is literally an all-arounder. It literally does everything. But yeah, Blissey just completely makes Eldegoss totally irrelevant. What does Eldegoss do? Think about it. It provides shields with Cotton Spore, Cotton Guard, whichever one it is. It provides shields with that move, and it provides a little bit of team mobility with Leaf Tornado. Well, Blissey does all of those things, has a better Unite move, and could also heal more. Like, you have Safeguard if you want to, you know, provide shields and provide a cleanse. Cotton Spore doesn't provide a cleanse, whichever one it is. Cotton Spore, Cotton Guard doesn't provide a cleanse. It's just a shield and a little bit of healing. Blissey heals 100,000+ a game. Eldegoss is lucky to do 30. If you want a little bit of movement speed, you can run Helping Hand. I wouldn't really run Helping Hand on Blissey, but you can. Helping Hand is still an incredible move. It just, Egg Bomb is better because it stuns, because Blissey is just, it makes Eldegoss irrelevant. I think Eldegoss really needs some love. Again, it's not a bad character. It's just every other support makes it totally irrelevant. Every other support does something that Eldegoss does, but way better, and provides more value in other areas. Speaking of Blissey, S+ tier. It is still broken. I have not seen a Blissey do less than 100,000 healing on this patch, and they nerfed Soft Boiled. Like, there's more fights going on. Blissey is still providing a ton of value in terms of healing. Nothing else about the character has changed aside from the Unite move, I guess, global nerf, but it doesn't really affect Blissey all that much. Blissey's still an amazing Pokemon, and absolutely nothing has changed about it. It is obscenely overpowered. I don't know what they do other than revert the change to giving it like 5 eggs, but then that feels like a nerf. Maybe move it down to 3 eggs, like 3 charges. You need to do something significant to really lower the healing, because lowering the ratio on it did nothing. It's still very good. And then the most obvious one of the video, Mr. Mime is the best character in the game right now, probably. I'm not ranking these against each other. If you couldn't tell, it's just ranking them in order of class. But yeah, Mr. Mime is absolutely stupid. Recording this obviously after the nerf to I just realized I forgot Buzzwole. My bad. Just put him here. He's Buzzwole's irrelevant. You remember that whole thing I said about blissey making every other healer irrelevant, every other supporter irrelevant? Same goes for Buzzwole. Poor guy. But yeah, Mime is just stupid. Like, it doesn't heal as much, but it still heals a ton. The other, you know, buffs slash debuffs to enemies or friendlies with guard swap are still ridiculous. Diffusion's still good. Barrier's still good. Everything about the character is ridiculously broken, and I think they overtuned it. I've been saying for months and months and months on these tier lists. You can go back and watch all of the last few I did. When I put Mime, you know, down here or down here, I said all they need to do, the only thing they needed to do to make Mime move up to this range was change the level it got guard swap plus. That is all they needed to do, was make it 11. Instead, they gave it guard swap plus, but way better, way better than guard swap plus at level 6. So yeah, they completely overtuned the character. I definitely see another nerf coming, maybe another hotfix. I think it's still obscenely gross. I think it's still very overpowered. But knowing Unite, we're probably gonna have to deal with this for the rest of the season, unfortunately. So yeah, buckle in, boys. We're living in, it's Mr. Mime's world, and we're just living in it. All right, let's get to these attackers. Venusaur. I've seen some other tier lists on Twitter and a couple of them on YouTube, and people aren't loving Venusaur. I could not disagree more. I think Venusaur is incredible on this new map, especially when paired with Mr. Mime. You do not die if you are like, if you're playing Mr. Mime and you have a Petal Dance Venusaur on your team, just pocket them. They won't die. They will not die. Petal Dance plus Giga Drain plus Power Swap. That is an unkillable Pokemon. Truly an unkillable combo. Because you're providing stuns for the Venusaur with Psychic. Like, I think it's just an incredible duo. Oh, and did I mention if you jungle Venusaur with blue buff, you can run Solar Beam and have it up every 3 seconds late game. Literally, you can Solar Beam, reposition, Solar Beam, boom, 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 every 3 seconds. It's on a 3-second cooldown if you run full cooldown reduction plus blue buff at level 13. It's 3 seconds. It's absurd. But yeah, I think Venusaur is incredible. I don't know where people are coming off saying Venusaur is bad. I think it's amazing. I think Venusaur is amazing. I don't think it's I'm talking myself into it. I think it's S tier. This may be my hottest take of the video. I think Venusaur is incredible in this patch and on this map. Gardevoir. How much you B plus? It's, you know, it's inherently better. It got a buff just in that there's more experience on the map. Like, it's still really solid. It's just, it's another character that really struggles in lane. Like, even still, it's a very weak laner. There is more experience on the map, but I just think there are better junglers, way better junglers specifically. We'll get to. I think there are better mages. Like, it's very strong, very good. It's not bad at all. It's just, I think there are better characters for what it does. Thank you, Apple Software. I don't even have Apple Software. I don't know what that is, but it's there. All right, Greninja. I think Greninja is pretty damn good on this map as well. Listen, it's a solo queue hyper carry. I'm gonna put it S just because you have a lot of healing and you can really snowball as this character. And if you position yourself well, if you land a lot of good serves, like Greninja is just as good as it's always been. Same thing with Cinderace. Like, I've been destroyed by plenty of them. Like, it's still very solid. Nothing wrong with the character at all. Putting it in S. Cramorant, I believe it or not, as one of the Cramorant guys on this platform, haven't really played a ton of Cramorant this patch. I think I played it once. It felt fine. Didn't feel worse. I don't think it's as good as it was, where it was borderline one of the best characters in the game. I'm gonna put it in A tier cautiously. The cooldown emblem nerf definitely hurt it. It also got hurt by its own nerfs. I believe Dive got nerfed as well as Air Slash getting nerfed a little bit. So yeah, it's definitely not as good, but I think it's still a really solid character. Pikachu. I think Pikachu is actually kind of struggling on this map a little bit, dare I say. It's just a Pokemon that really did well in like less coordinated fights where you just stun and take out like an enemy squishy. It's not a great character in super like drawn out team fights. It's a character that I don't know. It's fine. It's just another one of those. It's fine. I just don't think it's. I think there are better characters for that role. Ninetales. Again, same sort of thing. It provides a lot of CC. It's still a really solid laner. It's just it's really weak late game. I think Pikachu is also really weak late game to feed into that a little bit into, you know, both of these characters. But yeah, I don't love Ninetales right now. I think it's still very solid early. Once you get your level 4, you're online for quite a while. I just think it's more weak late game. It doesn't really score well. It doesn't really position itself well for this sort of meta. So yeah, it's okay. Nothing crazy. Not bad. Sylveon, I think it's still really strong. Hyper Voice is ridiculous. Hyper Voice is really good. It's very strong, so we'll go ahead and put that guy up there. Basically just for Hyper Voice. I think Hyper Voice is crazy. Put it in the A tier. Everything else about the character is pretty mid, honestly, but Hyper Voice is really good. Decidueye. I played Decidueye for the first time last night, and it felt really good. But I don't know if that's just me being a decent Decidueye or not. I don't want to do my own horn. I think I'm a pretty good Decidueye. This is a tough one to rank because I don't think it's amazing. Like it's nothing compared to these two guys. I'm gonna put it B plus. Yeah, I'm gonna put it B plus. And that feels really rough. It's just a lot of what Decidueye provided on the old map was securing Dreadnoughts and securing Zapdos. Obviously, those aren't really a thing anymore, so it doesn't make Decidueye as good, but it's still a very solid character. If you're hitting your shots, if you're landing your, you know, Unite moves, if you're providing value with your damage, like if you're doing well on Decidueye, you're still, you know, providing a lot of value, and you're still, you know, carrying as you would on any character. But it is a little bit inherently less valuable since there is less stuff for you to take that provides value to your team, if that makes sense. Duraludon, same sort of deal. I just think it's a little bit better in fights, and it's a little bit better late game. I think it has an amazing team fight with just peppering in damage from range. I think its auto attacks are really good. I think Dragon Pulse is really good. I have not touched Flash Cannon on this map, and I would not recommend it. I think Flash Cannon is terrible, but yeah, it's fine. Really strong, really solid Unite move. I like Groudon a lot. Very underrated. Espeon, it got buffed a lot. It was one of the worst characters in the game last patch, and I think it moves up a little bit. I don't think it's amazing still. I think it still has a pretty underwhelming Unite move. I actually think the sword power buffs were pretty significant. I still think Psyshock is an unbelievably strong move. Oh, and one more thing. I'm gonna jump way back. Moonblast is the most overpowered move in the fucking game. Nerf it. All right, moving on. Back to Espeon. I hate Gardevoir Moonblast. It is the most overpowered move in the game, and I will die on that hill. Fuck you if you disagree. Sorry. I don't know why I got so aggressive. I just hate Moonblast. But yeah, Espeon is honestly just the worst Gardevoir. You have to land all of your ticks of Psyshock to provide a worse stun, but it's better now. Psyshock's pretty solid. It gets its Ignite more often. It's not the worst character in the game anymore, but it's still pretty underwhelming in my opinion. It's definitely not bad. All right, Delphox. I think Delphox is an amazing character. I love it. I love Delphox. Problem is, it does fall off a little bit late game, but it still provides a lot of value in team fights with CC with Fire Spin, or just kiting, you know, your really annoying characters like this guy to some extent. Yeah, I just think Delphox is amazing. So that's one of the best ults in the game, specifically for defending goals, which becomes more valuable on this map. So I love Delphox. I don't think it's quite S tier where it was last patch, but I like it a lot. And this guy, yeah, Glaceon is one of the biggest winners of this patch, and it really didn't even change all that much. The damage buff to Icy Wind wasn't that significant. It was only like 4% on the scaling ratio or something like that. But blue buff makes this character an absolute demon. Bro, I've seen Glaceons do some disgusting things on this map, and it's just very strong, especially in jungle. It's the best jungler in the game. You just take your Zodsu, you take both of your buffs, and you're level 4, and you're just walking to the enemy base, walking wherever the hell you please, constantly with 8 ice shards up, just jumping around with Icy Wind, bop, wait a couple seconds, bop, wait a couple seconds, bop. You're just doing so much consistent damage. Oh, and then I mentioned Icicle Spirit is still pretty damn good as well. You get your Night move all the time. Yeah, Glaceon is incredibly good. Now, moving on to our last character. This is my hottest take. I think Mew is incredibly mid. I don't love the character. I get the value it provides early, being able to secure farm with Solarbeam. I just think this Pokemon's mid game is garbage. I think just throughout the game, I don't think Mew provides a ton of value to a team. Like, yeah, it's cool that you can switch up moves, and yeah, you get a lot of cool stuff you can do. I think this Pokemon should have been fully brought into a supporter role. I really like its supporting movesets. I really like some of its attacks. Like Surf is really good. Solar Beam's really strong. Electro Ball's okay. I just think this character is really weird. The gimmick with, you know, shooting stuff through Lightscreen is cool. Its Unite move is honestly pretty bad because it takes so long to actually do damage, and the damage feels so insignificant. Again, people are like, oh, it's just really hard to play. You just need to learn how to play it. I get that it's a difficult character to play, but I know how to play the character. I understand its kit. I understand how it works. I personally have not seen, like, I've seen screenshots of Mews do well. I've seen, you know, videos of people like Chris Heroes popping off with Mew. I've seen anyone, you know, have a pop-off game with any character. In my game specifically, I haven't seen a single Mew on either team do over 50,000 damage. It's just weird. Like, I don't know. Like, it's obviously, I'm exaggerating that. I've had some Mews, but do well. I don't know. I think the character is incredibly mid personally, but based on community feedback and what I've seen other people be able to do with it, I'm gonna seed it A+ tier. I personally don't think I can go any higher than that, just because I think the attackers above it provide more. I think Delphox is a better, you know, supporty mage type playstyle. I think Glaceon is an outright better damage dealer. Same thing with Venusaur. I don't know. I think it's good. I just think I've seen some people put it like up here, and I cannot agree with that personally. A+ tier seems about as high as I could go for it. I think it's fine. I personally haven't seen it with the character. I personally haven't seen it, and maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe I'm just an idiot. Maybe I'm just playing wrong. Hopefully I am. I don't know. I don't see it with Mew. Let me know what you guys think. I'll catch you all in the next one. Let me know what my worst take here was. Please let me hear it. And I will be sure to tell you why you're wrong. But no, thank you so much for watching. And if you like the content, please be sure to like, subscribe, all that sort of nonsense. I'll catch you all next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.